Video, Purple Political Talk here, and today we're going to be going through the 2020 presidential election and looking at Donald Trump's best case scenario. I want to thank all of you guys for reaching 90 subscribers, and I'm hoping that we're going to continue to grow. So, all I'm going to say is that Donald Trump's best case scenario is nowhere near a landslide. Is it going to be? I think it's going to be a worse performance than in 2016. Why am I saying this? Well, with all the events that currently happened that are favoring heavily the Democratic Party, I mean, at this point, Donald Trump's best case scenario is looking like squeezing out like a tiny victory. And that is not the best thing to say when you're factoring best case scenarios. Because realistically, the Trump campaign either has to do some work or they should just give up the election as a whole. So, at this point, somewhere like the different areas of the country, like the Sun Belt and the Midwest, those areas would need to go to Donald Trump if he wants a chance at winning the election. And in his best case scenario, I think he's going to have to, one, turn up the margins of the working class votes, which again could be really hard when you have someone like Joe Biden, who is ultra popular with that community, and that is going to be a hard thing for Donald Trump to do. This scenario is going to be a little bit harder even to get than the Joe Biden one, because realistically, right now, in Donald Trump's best case scenario, I think he would be losing narrowly. I mean, best case scenario, so I'm going to do his best case at winning scenario. So, at this point, looking at these states, I think states like Texas, Georgia, Ohio, and Iowa, in his best case scenario, would go by margins around 5 to 10%. And this honestly wouldn't be affected because these states are kind of expected to go to Donald Trump as of now. But things definitely do change. And over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be seeing the direct impacts of VP choices, the direct impact of the different protests of COVID-19 on the 2020 election. Democrats are still going to be winning states like Nevada and Colorado by good margins. And if Donald Trump wants to get close, these are 4 states that he could try to narrow down the margin. But at the end of the day, I think Democrats are still going to be winning by 5 points at minimum. So looking at the rest of the states, honestly, Donald Trump really needs to focus to get his best case scenario out is going to be this part of the country right here in the Sun Belt and parts of the Midwest. So, honestly, the 2 districts in Donald Trump's best case scenario would be going by lean margins. Which, again, I mean, it's pretty good because if he loses too much of grips, he could lose Nebraska's 2nd congressional district by a big margin. Which, honestly, is another electoral vote. Although it might seem as, just one electoral vote, it doesn't matter. Well, it does, because if you're going to come down to an election that's this close, and you know for a fact that faithless electors will go in and vote for the other person, every single electoral vote you can get your hands on does matter. Now, looking at these states, Democrats were the winning in Donald Trump's best case scenario. I think the only place in the Midwest that Democrats would win by lean margins in Donald Trump's best case scenario is the state of Michigan. The state of Michigan is looking like it's going to be increasing Democratic margins. And considering that they're currently leading in the polls by about 6 to 8%, I mean, I'm not a big believer of the polls, but just take that as a big, it's going to be in a likely margin. I think Donald Trump is going to be able to move it down a little bit and into the lean margin, which at the end of the day is pretty good for him. The rest of the swing states, that are left, I think they're going to be a lot closer in Donald Trump's best case scenario. But in a realistic scenario, where we're talking about my regular prediction, I would say that whole Rust Bowl right now is looking like a likely state. Now, states like Florida and North Carolina, I could easily see these 2 states going by lean margins in Donald Trump's best case scenario. And honestly, I think that is going to happen because those states have strong Republican bases. And I mean, they realistically, if Democrats are having such big things and big turnout and things like that, in Donald Trump's best case scenario, I think you just bring them down to the Democrats and actually probably flip them from Democrats' best case scenario. So I think also what I'm going to be doing is going to be doing a progression map. So I'm going to talk about going from one extreme, so the best case for the Democrats, going down to the best case for the Republican Party. And honestly, these states that are on your screen right now, um, are probably the most likely to go to Donald Trump. And one of the most likely maps right now is that the Rust Belt plus Arizona for the Democrats. Another map that's looking is the Rust Belt plus Arizona and North Carolina. And I did a video on this a couple days ago where I added like the states where they would win by bigger margins and things like that. So moving on, I think when it comes to Democrats, I think honestly they're going to win states like Minnesota and Wisconsin, Pennsylvania by tilt margins when it comes to Donald Trump's best case scenario. And the reason I think that would happen in his best case scenario is that he's going to get a lot closer than in a state like Michigan, but still it's not going to be enough. Donald Trump is not that candidate to go out and win by big margins. And I think in Donald Trump's absolute best case scenario, and that he wins, I think winning the state of Wisconsin and Arizona would be the two states that put him over the top, 70 electoral votes to 70. So I think this is the map for Donald Trump's best case scenario. He would narrowly squeeze out a victory, and at this point, it's not looking good. You asked me this question like 2 or 3 months ago. I probably could have told you that he's going to be by a little bigger. But now it's not looking so good for him. So looking at this map, we can see that the Rust Belt will be a big part of this election as well as the Sun Belt. So guys, I want to thank all of you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. We're so close to reaching 100 subscribers. Please subscribe so we can do that giveaway soon. And like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and goodbye!